if you've ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark and the big warehouse at the end, I tend to think it's not too dissimilar to that. That the best evidence is recovered and then taken away under lock and key.
There's a star man waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, but he's known someone might someday. Let the children boogie, let the children use it, let the children boogie.
Dear Hanging Bandits, debut album was middling at best. However, excellent work with the Bigfoot investigation. After watching your thorough documentary on the subject, I must urge you to make haste to Rendlesham Forest to look into 80s UFO landing. I can't think of a folk band more qualified. Qualified folk band.
Yeah, it's a weird email.
There it is, fam.
This? They proposed it was a hoax?
No, surely not. No, the only way to get the bottom of it is to go ourselves 35 years later, or whatever it is.
What's going on? What's happening? What's with it?
Planning our trip to Rendlesham.
Oh shit, we going for it?
We're going for it.
There needs to be a finalised answer. So should we find out what really happened?
Speak to the experts, go down, have a look,
and work out what happened during the incident.
find the truth, finally.
Ridiculous answer is gonna have to be yes.
Yeah.
So what are we talking to them?
So I met this guy down the pub called Gary Heseltine. He's written a book on the subject actually. He's not ex-police detective and he just loves evidence. So he compiled a wicked book.
We're chatting with Gary, one of the foremost UFO experts in the UK, author of Non-Human, a text about the famous Rendlesham Forest incident. He's been kind enough to give a little bit of time to us. Would you be happy just to give us a sort of brief overview of the Rendlesham incident?
It's got everything. It's got, this Air Force document that they denied existed for 3 years until eventually it was released. It alluded to 2 incidents. The first night landing of a small triangular craft on the ground, and then 2 nights later, the UFOs were being seen again in the forest. So Holt led a team out into the forest and he saw multiple UFOs himself, and he signed that memo. So it's very rare for somebody of that high rank of a nuclear strike base to do that. So you've got lots of elements that actually make it better than Roswell. Have you been to Rendlesham before?
Never have.
Nope.
It's still a strange area. Things are still being seen.
Inevitably, we're going to talk to some skeptics on this topic.
Talking to skeptics personally is a waste of time. They find the most bizarre explanations to fit their narrative.
How would you characterise Rendlesham?
I think it's a really interesting case. I think it's a damn sight more impressive than Roswell, Hey, come on, the Brits, But you've got an official memo there from an American serviceman and all that kind of stuff to go with it. And I think what makes it a classic is that there's, as with a lot of the classic cases in the world of the paranormal, I don't think there's just a single thing that happened. I think there are a few things that happened just coincidentally around at the same time, and that's what's turned it into this kind of classic case. So, my account would be that what caused the initial sightings was a meteor. It was seen in other parts of England. It was reported by various people. It definitely did happen. And from the point of view of the American airbase people at it was Woodbridge and Bentwaters, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It would probably look like possibly a plane crashing into Rendlesham Forest. So they see that, they go out to investigate, and they're basically in terrain that they're not that familiar with, certainly at night. I think that I know what Gary would say to the suggestion that, the sightings with the flashing lights and so on was Orford Ness Lighthouse. He'd completely dismissed that. But I'm pretty sure that is what they actually saw.
It's the most bold Bandits explore yet.
And where is everyone standing? Is it Team Chris in that car or Team Gary in that car?
Team Fence.
Team fence.
I think it's all going to depend when we get there and we see the lighthouse.
Ben wants to like absolutely hedge his bets, and he doesn't even want to commit
Bullshit,
to
mate.
what
You
team.
can't even commit.
What team is
That's
he on?
lack of commitment.
I'm committed to Team Chris ahead of the Lighthouse,
And I'm committed to Gary. But we haven't had a fight yet, so...
and that's how we'll decide who's correct or not with physical violence.
If no other evidence presents itself, obviously.
Then violence.
Do you have a GPS there in the car?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Church Lane, Rendlesham, Woodbridge. Okay.
Unidentified flight objects, here we come!
Reverse it straight into someone.
Money shot, yeah? Okay, you go.
Is there a known time for sort of like aliens to come out?
I don't think there is. I think aliens don't follow a particular schedule.
They're not on the same clock as we are.
They're not on the same clock. I mean, if you look at, so in Rendlesham, I think both incidents occurred quite late in the evening. So we're in good stead, I would say. I think in isolation, there's good explanations for like almost every bit of the main Rendlesham incident.
With Gary, see, the thing is, you navigate through this life and it can be bland if you let it be.
You know what, they call, what's this guy, Nick Pope. They call Nick Pope the UK's Fox Mulder.
There are three people that I think are controlling the narrative. Colonel Holt, John Burroughs and Jim Penniston from the first night landing, along with one other person, and he's got a separate chapter in the book, Nick Pope, who's the former man from the ministry, became world famous. And all he did was deal with correspondence, not as he claimed when he wrote his books and then left that office. He said he ran the UFO desk.
But if you want the UK's Fox Mulder, I'm nominating Gary Heseltine here. This guy has taken all the expertise the police have given him. He's taken those expertise and he's applied them to the hunt for extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
And that's about as Fox Mulder as you can get.
It's about as gangster as you can get.
It's also about as gangster as you can get. And then on the flip side of this, you got Dr. Christopher French, who I guess would be like the cigarette smoking man and the conspiracy in the X-Files. He's trying to he's trying to keep Gary Heseltine down.
Yeah.
It's like when people go, any kind of paranormal investigation team, they're going in there looking for evidence of something paranormal. Anything that happens, any slightly weird thing that happens is explained in terms of some paranormal event. If a bit of equipment malfunctions, that's the paranormal. If there's a weird noise suddenly, that's the paranormal. It's everything. Whereas in a different context, those things wouldn't be interpreted in that way. And so it's exactly as you say, that they are primed. They've gone out there. Then they're kind of expecting certain things, and it's what we call top-down processing in psychology, where your beliefs, your expectations influence much more strongly than people realize your perception, and also then your memory. When you're kind of recalling what you see, you add in extra bits, extra details that make it more consistent with the general story that you're telling. That's how it works.
Could you give us an example, possibly, of outside of the UFO field, something that we understand, fully?
There's this notion that there are satanic messages in rock music.
Yeah. We're familiar with this, yeah.
So you may already be familiar with. My favorite example of this is the clip from "Stairway to Heaven" by Led Zeppelin. Yes, and it's brilliant. I use it all the time. I crowbar it into any talk that I'm doing because it's just so good. I play that clip to the audience, and initially I don't tell them what the satanic message is, and I say your task is to tell me what the message is. And my prediction is that one or two of you might think you pick up on one or two words. For most of you, it will sound like complete gobbledygook all the way through. Even for the people who pick up on one or two words, it will still sound mostly like gobbledygook. And there's a very good reason for that. It's because it is backwards gobbledygook. There is no hidden message there. And then I played in the clip, and one or two people in the audience say, I think I heard the word Satan, you know. And again, that's top-down processing. What's the word you're most likely to hear when I'm talking about satanic messages?
Ben, what was it with the chemical? Like, was it the nuclear chemical? Was it like a nuclear plant there in Rendlesham?
Better strap yourself in, sanity. You sit back and put your seatbelt on. Make sure it's on.
Okay,
yeah. Okay. So the point of the matter is this has been a Cold War base, one of the many Cold War bases that America has basically put around the whole of Europe.
We're now looking at 17 different timed UFO-related events over what I would say is a 7-day period in late December 1980. It involved the twin bases of RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwaters, which were leased from the RAF to the US Air Force. The twin bases were the top strike base in the UK in the event of Cold War aggression.
So there's only one thing for it. We've got to bring out our cryptid nuclear container, you know.
Well,
it's one of those times where we wouldn't normally bring it out. It brings out too much attention, too much unwanted attention. But you know, how can we not bring it out here?
Nah, this is appropriate. This is appropriate.
Of course it is. And French seem to be sort of downplaying the idea of the association.
I mean, going back to Rendlesham in particular, you know, it's amazing that given that there was some, you know, evidence to suggest that they were concerned that, you know, there might be some kind of nuclear connection going on there, but no other action was taken. You know, I mean, really? You know, you think that there might be some kind of alien civilization there that's messing about with our nuclear weapons, and you just kind of, oh, I'm tired now, I'm going to bed. You know, I mean,
Sorry, but this never been done before, man.
Yeah.
No one's looked up at like what are aliens naturally, you know, gravitating towards, and no one's baited aliens like this that I've seen.
No one has.
And I think we're just geniuses.
This is high-level ufology occurring.
And it took musicologists to do this.
it takes serious
Kinda
focus
sad, isn't it?
issues. It makes you wonder what's going on in parapsychology.
a lot of the people who have, I would say, those kind of ignorant, skeptical views assume that if they were to pick up a journal with on parapsychology, that they'd be able to see the flaws in the way that things were done straight away. That, you know, that all parapsychologists are idiots, or they're all either making data up, or they're, you know, and it's just not true. You know, I now know a lot of these people, and I know that they're intelligent people on the other side of the argument who hold different opinions to mine.
It seemed to be quite a significant site, Rendlesham, ever since its inception, not just the 80s. So I wouldn't downplay the fact its nuclear capabilities wasn't significant.
From my position, we're never going to fully know one way or another, especially as so much time has passed. Gary always makes a point of, you know, in the court of law, people are sentenced or not sentenced based on first-hand witnesses, second-hand witnesses, and all of that stuff matters. And I do think there's an argument to be made of all this data that isn't physical, but it's still countable, but it is flawed. But I don't think that's any reason to stop asking the questions and not take anyone seriously.
Both Gary and Chris said that they found this case more interesting than Roswell. Alright? Now this is not mean that this is just big for the UK. This is big for history.
Yeah, what is this?
It's for fucking calling aliens, isn't it? Like, I think Chris French would probably state right now that I'm getting a bit overwhelmed by, like, what is it, like the patterns of things.
Yeah, sure, the atmosphere.
You know, you just got to go in there, open-minded.
Right.
Don't come up with all the kind of psychological defenses that a miserable skeptic like me has got. You know, I can kind of inhibit paranormal forces within a 20-mile radius.
We found the main car park now. I think it's time to begin our adventure then.
This is already a great trip. If you're thinking of coming to Rendlesham, it's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've just arrived at Rendlesham Forest. Feels like you're a lot further away from the world than you really are.
I don't like it.
We need to find the UFO location, and we need to bring our nuclear material. This is the map of all the different sightings and incidents that Gary Heseltine provided us. It's now about 9:30 and we're about to trek out into the woods to see if we can find any of these sites.
This is the military base.
Yeah, that's the military base.
So we're surely not anywhere near here, I guess. So maybe
you did have barbed wire nearby.
So we've found the UFO trail now in the darkness. Kind of tricky, but we got there with the help of Gary's map.
1, 2, 3, lift.
Hence why there's a big link between UFOs and nuclear weapons, because I think they've got a vested interest in this beautiful planet. I think in our bit of the cosmic neighborhood, it's a bit like an oasis in the desert. And I always say we're a bit like the Great Barrier Reef or the Galapagos Islands. It's an area of scientific beauty. The Earth is full of life, fauna, and huge amounts of water. And probably in our bit of cosmic neighborhood, we're a bit special.
Guys, are you sure it's safe?
Please try and hold it steady, guys.
Yeah, man.
Okay, we've come to another spot on the UFO trail now.
But there's a bit of a rumble here. It's like a low frequency, rumble. Planes going by.
Onto a road.
Overhead structure, caution.
I mean, one of the things that comes up here is like you're constantly hearing plane sound and seeing lights like through the trees of houses. And earlier we saw, I think it was a car light going through the trees in the distance. It did look weird, but it was almost definitely a car light. It's notable that as soon as you get here, there's like a certain atmosphere. You're just in the woods at night time. So of course it feels kind of mysterious, feels vaguely haunted. You're hearing lots of sounds unfamiliar.
It's a rabbit. It's like one of those doe deer, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Wow. Careful. You don't want to drop that. Yeah, we're good.
The plan is now a bit far back. Cut in some hedges. We'll put our red lights on, the infrared lights on, so we don't disturb the alien activity that's perfect.
Behind me, we've left our radioactive material in the hopes of attracting extraterrestrials. We've been waiting here for a good 10 minutes now, and nothing's happened.
You're impatient, man.
It's you can't just leave plutonium in the woods, you know what I mean? So we need to be aware at the time. Maybe if Tom could do something to try and communicate, try and draw the aliens in, maybe if you just step forward and let's see if we can work this.
On my beer.
Sandy's getting the gloves ready. We've got to retrieve the radioactive material now.
We're slightly too close.
Okay, so after going through what looks to be yet to be confirmed, potentially one of the air bases, looks like we're venturing finally off the trail, and we're going to the right now, deep into the heart of the woodlands, possibly coming up to the potential sighting. So yeah, here we go.
Well, are we actually going out of the UFO trail?
No, we're going
into the woods a bit.
We're following a line, one of those arrows.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I really thought we were getting further and deeper into the woods, and we were going to see what was it? What do you call it? The installation, I guess, of the ship. And it felt like when you turn some corners, there are some good vibes coming. Like you're going to see something cool. And it was just a big circle all the way back to the car park. So we're now back at the car park.
We weren't satisfied with how it ended. Me and Andy thought we got it's a notch now. Now we know what we're dealing with. We're going right back in there to just discover what this actual base is. After extremely long walking, getting hangar vibes, almost like the runway was so big. We've actually come into what looks like one of the main entrances now to a few varieties of different buildings, so I'm just going to venture forward here and see. This was some sort of storage deep into the base, and right to the point where it looks like in the distance an antennae on top of a station of some kind. We're about to go and find out what that is, the best of our ability.
Shit.
This is fucking West, bro.
Yeah, fam. Recorders.
You're right, Sam. Come to me. Almost 8 in the morning. We've just done the car sleep. Tom and Santi are still in the car.
I don't know where the fuck am I gonna get the energy required for proper analysis and investigation.
You know, at one point I thought maybe I'll bring the sleeping bag out here, and I saw there was a fuck ton of squirrels everywhere. I was like, fam, I can't sleep with all these squirrels about me. It's just bad vibes, you know?
That's what they say. Tom, are you okay? Yeah. How was your night's sleep?
Some people have slept better than others, and that's led the group to kind of make a decision that the ones that haven't slept very well should probably sleep a little bit. So we're going to go find a campsite and probably think about breakfast as well. Hey guys, anyone fancy getting up?
English countryside. There's not really anything, even when you're in Rendlesham Forest, they're not really making a big deal out of the Rendlesham Incident. It's not gone like Roswell, where it's like the only reason people go to Roswell now, I imagine.
they're not playing to that tourism.
Yeah, they're not playing to the alien tourist market. There's no.
It's just farmers.
It's just farmland basically. There's no like novelty named cafes like the Little Alien or anything like that.
I think we're coming to this roundabout here and taking a left and we'll be in the base. Is it?
Cold warming.
Anyone in the office? No one's in the office. So we're actually on the Rendlesham military base right now. We're literally driving around the thing, which is great fun that you can do this. I'm not gonna lie, this is great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's basically a business park now, which is kind of sad, but still, it's such a cool area. You can imagine like 1980s military technology driving around. Sergeant, get in!
Well, you've seen some fucking aliens.
Yeah, we gotta go. Should we just park up and have a walk around?
Yeah.
Well, here we are. What a contrast from last night. Seems like they've turned it into a business park.
Leaving the control tower now because we weren't really actually allowed to be in there. Security guard came up to us after about. Well, in all fairness, we walked right up to the building, and then he came around. He's a lovely older gentleman. That's just sort of cruising around in a van, telling people where they can and can't go. Clearly,
yeah.
That's all right. Got to be respectful.
Nobody told me there'd be days like this. Nobody told me there'd be days like this. Nobody told me there'd be days like this. Strange days indeed. Strange days.
There is no one thing that explains it. It has to be like a series of events that begins with a meteor and culminates with you're already in a weird headspace because you've seen this unidentified object.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Orford Road, B1078.
You've already seen this unidentified object come, fall to Earth, and then I think the Lighthouse misidentification, if it occurred a couple of days later.
There were some weird sort of like, you look behind you and there was some like, I don't know why, but the light seemed to kind of throb in the path.
Yeah, me and Ben were talking about this. It's like, there's some weird effect of being in the forest late at night where the dark blue of the night sky, almost, because it's so much lighter than the surrounding dark woodland, it almost looks like a light, oftentimes, at the end of a path. It looks like it kind of follows you or moves or phases in and out of view. So the bandits are now at Orford Ness looking for the famous lighthouse, which may or may not have been mistaken for a UFO in 1980. So we're going to be heading down to see how likely we think it is that the lighthouse could have been mistaken for a UFO.
The Lighthouse was, and I talk about it in the book, was entirely created by the British media, deliberately, to downplay the significance, to put doubt in the minds of the public. An astronomer called Ian Ridpath basically did a film sequence for the BBC where he films the lighthouse at night in the distance, and it flashes every five seconds, regular flash. Doesn't shine a beam inward, by the way. That was blocked off, but nobody ever talks about that. On the strength of that, the BBC ran the story, the British media, tabloid, newspaper, TV, ran the story. Oh, it was confused by the lighthouse.
Vince Thurkettle, the forester, he immediately said it was the lighthouse they were looking at. He knows the terrain like the back of his hand. I would kind of give more credence to his view on that.
Our research on this occasion has not paid off because the Orford Ness Lighthouse no longer exists. It's been demolished, it stood for 200 years, and now it's rubble, and it's rubble off over in this direction somewhere. So, we can't, there's no way of knowing about the lighthouse. Yeah. We can't confirm or deny it. One thing I will say is, it feels like we're a long way from Rendlesham Forest right now. Rendlesham basically is somewhere
And it's not these trees here, just to be clear. It's none of these trees. Rendlesham, I'm pretty sure, is like further, like see that furthest line of trees?
3 or 4,
like
maybe like
that.
3 or 4 fields down, I think.
More than 3 or 4.
Yeah. How big this colossal lighthouse must have been for it to have been visible from Rendlesham Forest?
The lighthouse, in my opinion, is too far away from the forest area where it all went down. And because of that, I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Gary. But we aren't lighthouse specialists. Maybe it's more powerful than we can possibly. Okay, Santi, jump in.
I've got years.
Go on, tell us about lighthouses.
They serve a very key, operational function in the UFO landing. They often give the sense that there's UFOs hovering over the forest. So therefore play a great role in UFO spotting.
And what are you doing here?
I'm, I don't know. I only know about lighthouses, man.
Research concludes that there is no way it could have been mistaken for a lighthouse.
What?
Conclusively, black and white.
Everybody's crying, and no one makes a sound. There's a place for us in movies, you just have to wait around.
I'm going to try to go to the supposed UFO landing place. We're going to review it. We're going to take notes. We'll try to draw conclusions, but we will ultimately get some.
So it's taken 2 attempts, but we found the Rendlesham landing site.
Everybody's smoking, and no one's getting high. Well, everybody's flying, and no one touches sky. This UFO's over Suffolk, and I am too surprised. Nobody told me the reasons like this. Nobody told me the reasons like this. Nobody told me the reasons like this. Strange days indeed. Most peculiar, mama.
We just came on across a so-called tree structure, so let's take a look. Otherwise known as a troll's tabernacle.
No, this is clearly a chair. Yeah.
Yes.
On top of that, no, it's cut. Yeah. Now, I think that's evidence of intelligent design.
Yeah.
Because nature doesn't cut things.
It could even be evidence of the Egyptian cutting with sound as well.
Sam, I think you're onto something. Even
There you go.
than that. This strikes me as evidence of maybe a parental unit. The young and the older entity. I won't say Bigfoot because it could be anything.
Oh!
There's another one. You can see a banger there.
We saw the.
So
should we go away then?
But no, there is no firework though, is there?
that wasn't a firework. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go there.
We've got it there behind us. Can you see on the camera?
Yeah, it does.
Come in this way, Dan.
Shit, sorry.
Shine the light on us.
Yeah, but it's missed us. It would be on us permanently if there was anything to worry about. Yeah, literally the main beam. I know we've been saying that. Main beam.
In the main beam.
Fucking came on us.
We
I
ain't
know.
out.
I was part of it. I was like,
Well, they've clearly thought they're just a bunch of UFO guys. Let's fuck them off. If they did see us.
I mean, yeah, they beamed us
You
for
know.
like what?
It was a
2
practical
seconds?
2 seconds, yeah.
Oh, it's beaming down at where we were earlier.
But that's a
The
good.
beam is staying.
It's a good job that we didn't fucking stay there much longer, innit? We just decided to just fucking go because it was cold.
So obviously we were adventuring into the abandoned RAF Woodbridge base, right? And there was a load of abandoned hangars and just loads of infrastructure left behind. And we wanted to have a look at the base that's still there. But as we were like, oh, this is fun, there's no one here, no one cares that we're there. And then as we started walking back, we decided to have a chill and reflect on our experience. And then we started walking back.
Yeah.
We saw a chopper and we were like, oh, it's just a fucking chopper. Of course there's a chopper around here. And then it started circling the area around the base where we just were looking in with binoculars. And then it beamed at us and we started to get a little bit worried.
Last day of epic trip, and we just head into RAF Woodbridge. We've been there the last couple of nights. It's definitely got quite an atmosphere. We're just hoping to head back there and play some songs.
So we've came back in the day just to have a look and compare this the last 2 nights, whether or not there's any activity or it's all completely seized. It looks like it has completely seized, but we shall see. We've never gone in the day.
Somewhere in the middle, not close to the fence. It's just mental. It's probably about 20 unused hangars. It's just very quiet, dead atmosphere here, and then you get the forest right next to it. Dark helicopters over the forest, flying low, low.
So we're on our way back from Rendlesham now. I think it's been a pretty fruitful investigation. The main thing is, I think we've all come away thinking that the Lighthouse explanation is not super convincing.
You know, Lighthouse or not, you get a sense of the scale of the distance, and you compare it to other lighthouses we've all seen and been familiar with as well, and a lot more closer to. And we thought to ourselves, let alone a military personnel could be confused, but just like the average Joe, would they really come out of the base, go off on tour into the woods and stuff if it was just following up the lighthouse? Something went on, and the only way we're going to find out is through declassified military documents, because that's where all the true answers will lie.
There's footage of the lighthouse when it was still being used, and it's just a little blink here and there. I feel like it's really been overstated how much this lighthouse has been used to sort of dismiss all these claims. There are a few occasions where they've got footage of cars driving past, like through the trees essentially, and to the naked eye and to the camera really, you can easily think that there's like something flashing, and all it's doing is passing the trees quickly enough that the car lights just look like they could be blinking red lights.
As soon as I saw those lights, I was like, there's a car there.
Yeah.
It was not like, oh, what could that be?
Yeah. The soldiers were told the night before or on that night to go and investigate potential UFO sightings or a crashed, was it a crashed Russian satellite, or all these kinds of things. The forest, without any lights or at pitch black at night, does feel like it has a bit of a psychological impact. So you plus that with, you're in the army, you take shit seriously, and then you're being told this crazy stuff from your higher ups. I feel like there's a recipe for your mind wanting to, being far more open to the impossible, or the more interesting, let's say that.
I don't know if you guys were more attuned to certain things, but I just felt like it's just a forest.
We chatted to a few of the locals, in the area, and people either don't believe it, don't even know that it happened, or just couldn't care. Like, we didn't talk to a lot, but I feel like we talked to a few, and it feels like it's just no one gives a damn. And does that indicate that the cover-ups and psyops were effective, or does it indicate that just we are as a society are just not capable of like taking any of it seriously?
There are actors in the audience, spectators on the stage. It took the weak to lift the universe, the illiterate to turn a better phrase. I'm poor on principle, but I'm strict on stains. Strung out on rest stop law at the fractured meridian, walking to the comedy.